The first type of cafe we're going to explore are the pop-up walk-up cafes. Pop-up cafes are the most common type you'll see when it comes to anime collaborations. They're there for a limited time at a specific location, and they usually have a menu that's themed around the show or game that they're promoting. All collaboration cafes usually have merch that's exclusive to the cafe. Pop-up walk-up cafes are the easiest to get to because there's no reservation needed, so you just show up, order, and enjoy. The first themed cafe I ever went to was actually an Arina Tanemura pop-up cafe at Tokyo Skytree. Arina Tanemura is the mangaka behind titles like Full Moon Osagashite, Gentleman's Alliance, and Kamikaze Kaitojin, and she was one of my biggest art inspirations when I was growing up. So of course, I was super excited to go to a cafe that was themed after her work. I ended up going with 2 other friends who also enjoyed Arina Tanemura when they were younger. The first thing I noticed was that there wasn't a whole lot of room to sit. They have a few plastic tables and chairs, but aside from the large window decorations, the vibe is very eat your food and get the hell out. Luckily, there wasn't any wait, so we were able to grab a table right after ordering. The other thing I noticed was, wow, this menu is kind of expensive. As the video continues, you might notice that this is kind of a constant with themed cafes. I will not be judging any of them based on price because, spoiler alert, they are all expensive. I decided to order the curry omurice, which was made to resemble takto, and a berry soda themed after Miroko. Also a latte with Mitsuki's image. The whole full moon gang's here. The food was served on paper plates and plastic cups, and the presentation was lacking. But like I said, the vibe of this particular cafe space was eat your food and get the hell out. And honestly, I was still super excited to be there. To be honest, the curry rice was not great. It's one of those things where you're like, I can definitely make this better at home. However, the berry soda was actually pretty good. Not too sweet and super refreshing. One of my friends also ordered a strawberry parfait that looked super cute, but I didn't try it, so I have no idea how it was. I ended up spending the time bonding with my new friends over our mutual love for shoujo anime and reminiscing on all our favorite Arina Tanemura memories. So as mediocre and pricey as the food was, I still had a good time. This pop-up cafe gets a 2.5 out of 5 from me. The second pop-up cafe I went to was the Fruits Basket Cafe at the Princess Cafe space in Akihabara. Compared to the first cafe I went to, this one had a way different atmosphere. For starters, there was ample seating, and even though it was a Saturday, there was 0 wait time. There was chibi art of all the characters on the walls and tables, and the TV was playing recap scenes from the show with a gorgeous soundtrack playing in the background. My friend Daru ordered the Somen and Citrus Kyo soda, and I ordered a Katsudon, a Blueberry Yuki soda, a Toru strawberry milk, and a latte with Kisa printed on it. I'm not really a big fan of desserts, but we also ordered the pancakes to share. To be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of the strawberry milk, but the berry soda and latte were really good. I was also really surprised at how tasty the Katsudon was too. And actually, I was so overwhelmed by how happy I felt in the moment, I burst into tears as soon as I took a bite of the Katsudon. I was incredibly embarrassed because Daru was a very new friend, but she was really nice about it, and she was like, don't worry, I also fangirl over things like this. Presentation-wise, everything was pretty cute with the little wafer paper characters, and I was glad I was able to eat on actual dishware and glasses this time. Afterwards, we of course had to get some merchandise from the goods section, and I ended up getting a bunch of small acrylic charm blind bags and these adorable acrylic stands. There was also a little book where you could sign a thank you message to Miss Takaya herself, who had actually attended the day before we did and drew a doodle in the book. It honestly felt kind of surreal, and I walked away from this cafe experience extremely happy. So this pop-up gets a 5 out of 5. For the third pop-up cafe, we're going back to the first cafe space at Tokyo Skytree, and this one was honestly a nightmare. So, a little word of advice, if you choose to visit any sort of event in Japan and you have the option to, do not go during the weekend, and especially not on a Sunday. I may have gotten really lucky with the Fruits Basket Cafe, but this time around, I would not be as fortunate. So initially, I was actually super excited about this one because this time it was a Nichijou collaboration cafe, and Nichijou is one of my favorite anime, so of course I had to go. And I had actually stayed up to make sure I didn't miss the opening time because as luck would have it, it was the only day I could go because it was the day before I had to fly to California for VidCon. I I figured, Nichijou isn't a super brand new anime or anything, and it's a walk-up cafe, so surely it won't be that busy. Wrong! Imagine my surprise when my sleep-deprived ass strolls up at 11 a.m. to see a huge swarm of people, all wanting to get into the Nichijou cafe, to the point where they had to hand out numbered slips, and I was like, okay, yeah, I don't mind waiting like an hour or two.
19時に戻ってきてください。
Honpo? So I took a taxi home, took a nap, went back at 7 p.m., and the food was not good. I'm not even going to get into detail on the things I ordered because nothing really stood out. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Sakamoto burger looked adorable, but if we're looking past the wafer decorations, what we have here is very overpriced, very mediocre food. And of course, since this is the same place that had the Arina Tanemura pop-up, it was served in the usual paper plates and plastic cups. But of course, I was sort of expecting this, so at the end of the day, I'm not waiting 8 hours for spectacular food, I'm waiting 8 hours for Nichijou, and that's what I got. So I had no regrets, 1 out of 5. Now the second type of cafe I'm going to introduce is the pop-up reservation cafe. Similarly to the previous ones, these are also only for a limited time, but rather than just showing up, you actually need to make a reservation beforehand, usually through the cafe venue's website. If the anime is new and or very popular, you'll likely have to make a reservation, like if it's a SpyxFamily collaboration or a Chikawa collaboration. The menu is still a bit pricey, but you can expect to see a higher quality in both presentation and taste. The first reservation cafe I went to with Daru was the Mofusand Cafe at the Box Cafe in Space in Shinjuku. Mofusand is a series of some of the cutest, chubbiest little kitties you've ever seen, drawn by an illustrator who goes by the name Juno. You might have even seen some of these cute cat illustrations on either Twitter or Instagram. So, technically not an anime, but it was so stinking cute, we had to go. The atmosphere was cute and pretty simple, with illustrations of the cats covering the walls and this giant shark cat plush. I ordered a burger, a sparkling lime soda, a cafe latte, and a cat ice cream parfait. Daru ordered the fried shrimp sandwich and a taiyaki dessert made to look like a cat's head was stuck in it. The food was all so adorable. We genuinely had trouble starting because we didn't want to ruin it. And surprisingly, it was actually really, really tasty. I completely annihilated my plate because I was enjoying it so much. Everything on that plate was delicious. The burger, the salad, the potatoes, the drinks were also really good, and the parfait was pretty good, but I couldn't finish it because, like I said, not a big fan of desserts. But luckily for me, Daru is, so she happily took it off my hands. Afterwards, we took a look at all the cute merchandise in the merch corner and talked ourselves out of buying everything in sight. Overall, it was a really fun time, and my tummy was very happy. 5 out of 5. The second reservation cafe I went to with Daru is the Sailor Moon Cafe, located in the Sailor Moon Museum in Roppongi. This museum is here until the end of the year, so if you find yourself in Japan within the next 3 months and you're a big Sailor Moon fan, I definitely recommend checking this exhibit out. Now, you don't necessarily need a reservation for the cafe, but you do need to book a ticket reservation for the museum that it's in. So I'm counting it in the category of pop-up reservation cafes. The exhibit is really pretty, and Daru was losing her mind from happiness every step of the way, so it was her turn to be the teary-eyed fangirl. It was a Sunday, which we all know is a very busy day, so we ended up waiting around an hour to get a table at the cafe. The food was, of course, very cute and actually pretty good. I ordered the slider plate. One had shrimp and egg, and the other had tuna and pesto. It came with pickled veggies and a side salad with what I think was blue gelatinized salad dressing, and also a side of potato puree that was dyed pink. Interesting color choices, but they tasted good, so I'm not gonna knock it. I also ordered a white peach soda float, which had star-shaped jellies at the bottom. It tasted sweet and refreshing, and I actually really liked it because it wasn't sickly sweet. And of course, I needed a second drink, so I ordered an iced latte with some text from the manga printed on top. Daru got the moon-shaped omurice, which included a silhouette of Sailor Moon made out of sugar. I don't really agree with the choice of having sugar next to omurice, but she seemed to enjoy it, so again, not gonna knock it. For dessert, we shared the Cosmic Heart Compact Dessert Plate, which had a strawberry mousse topped off with a sugar cookie. The mousse was pretty good, but I was pretty sugared out from the float, so like always, I had to get Daru to clean up the rest of it. If I had to rate the cafe without taking the exhibit into account, I think I'd have to give it a 4.5 out of 5. Now, some of the fellas watching this video have either completely checked out at this point, or they're asking, okay, we see all these girly cutesy cafes you're going to, but where's the cafe for me and my shonen brethren? So I present to you the Jujutsu Kaisen Cafe. Yeah, it's basically the same thing. So this is one I managed to get a reservation for. It was a bit of a hassle. I had to make an account on the site, pick a reservation time, pay the booking fee at the nearby Lawson, all to have some of the most mediocre food I've ever eaten. The atmosphere was fine. I wasn't a huge fan of the plastic screen thing they had because it made sharing food difficult, but we did get some free file folders and, of course, free coasters with every drink purchase. I ordered a panda breakfast sandwich thing, and I'm gonna be honest, it sucked. The egg was nice and gooey, but aside from that, it tasted abysmal. Didas's meal was, I think, slightly better, but he wasn't really all that into it either. The drinks were fine, nothing to write home about, but they were fine. Now, the real highlight of this cafe, if you could believe it, was the dessert. The dessert was actually really freaking good. The cake was nice and fluffy, the cream was light and tasty, especially with the fruits and tart sauce, and there was even some strawberry jam and vanilla ice cream in the middle of the cake. This was probably one of the best desserts I'd eaten at any of the cafes. So, as you can probably tell, these cafe menus can be hit or miss depending on what you order. You just have to hope and pray you won the menu RNG and picked the tastiest items. In this case, I think I picked the worst possible meal choice, but arguably the best dessert option. There was of course a merch section in the store, but I wasn't really interested in anything. Jujutsu Kaisen Cafe gets a 2.5 out of 5 for me. The only thing that earned points was the very tasty dessert. Now that you've heard about pop-up cafes, let's talk about permanent walk-up cafes. These cafes are, like the name suggests, permanent, and you go any time of the year because they're not going anywhere. There's not a whole lot of these, and the only ones I could find that didn't require a reservation were dedicated character cafes. First one in this category is the Cinnamoroll Cafe in Shinjuku. I was interested in this one because they were doing a limited time collaboration with Hatsune Miku. It was a Monday, and nobody was available that day to go with me, so I went on a date with myself. I thought I was being smart by going at opening time on a Monday morning, but of course, since it's a collaboration with Queen Miku, there was already a huge line when I got there. I ended up waiting 2 hours to finally get seated, and during that time, I decided I would order 2 things from the Miku collab menu and 2 things from the regular Cinnamoroll menu. I ordered the tropical mango soda, which was really freaking good. It was like a club soda mixed with fruit puree, so it wasn't too sweet at all. And at this point, I realized I had a thing for bubbly, fruity soda water. Unfortunately, the green yasai juice I ordered off the Miku menu was not as good. Honestly, it was kind of gross. It was like a cup of vegetable juice, which by itself was not bad, but it had a thick layer of Cool Whip on top, and I was really not into it. I could only drink half. Also from the Miku menu was the green onion and tuna pasta. The flavor was intense, but it was pretty good. Was it $10 good? I mean, presentation-wise, it was just pasta with a little paper image of Miku and Cinnamoroll on a toothpick stuck into it. On the other hand, the presentation of the Cinnamoroll omurice is one of the cutest edible things I have ever seen. Look at how cute he is! Little baby boy sleeping in his egg blanket. I do have to say, though, it looks a lot cuter than it tastes.
Where's the flavor? Where's the flavor in this? I don't taste anything.
The egg tasted unseasoned, but also, to be fair, I ate this immediately after eating a tuna and green onion pasta, so I think anything would taste bland after that combination. I ended up not ordering any dessert because I was just about ready to explode after this, and I didn't have anyone with me this time who could help me eat it. Next time I go, I definitely want to bring a friend with me because it was kind of lonely waiting and eating by myself. The atmosphere was surprisingly really plain for a permanent cafe, and it was pretty small on the inside. There was a merch section for the Miku collab, but since I didn't have much interest in Cinnamoroll, I picked up stuff for Mouse instead. I give Cinnamoroll Cafe a 3 out of 5. The next permanent walk-up cafe is also a Sanrio character cafe, but this time for my personal favorite, Pom Pom Puddin'. And first off, I'm not biased or anything, but this is hands down the cutest, most visually appealing cafe that I have been to so far. All the interior furniture is on theme. There's a giant pom pom pudding in the middle, and the employees even wore super cute uniforms that were pom pom pudding themed. So right off the bat, the atmosphere hits all the marks for me. But what about the food? So I decided to order the butter chicken curry, which had the rice shaped like pom pom pudding's head, and it was actually really tasty. It was super flavorful and adorable, and I cleaned up my plate really fast. Didus ordered a limited time summer festival plate, which I didn't try, but he finished everything and said it was pretty good. We also ordered drinks that came with whipped cream and a little chocolate pom pom pudding at the top. I had a mango lassi, and it was good, but a bit too sweet for my liking. So next time I go, I might just get a regular drink. For dessert, we had to order the custard pudding since, you know, the theme of the character. But I was pretty full at this point, so I could only get a few bites in. It tasted like any other custard flan or pudding that you'd find in Japan, except this one was in a cute round glass with pudding's face on it. Of course, there was a little merch section in the cafe, and I brought home my own pudding glass. This is definitely one of my favorite cafes, and I can absolutely see myself coming back, especially since there was absolutely no wait time or reservation required. 5 out of 5. The third permanent walk-up cafe I visited was the Shiro-Hige Cream Puff Factory in Setagaya. Unlike the busy, bustling streets of Shinjuku and Harajuku that the other two were at, Shiro-Hige is located in a really peaceful green area right by the station. You might notice the Studio Ghibli memorabilia as you walk in, and that's because this cafe specializes in Totoro-shaped cream puffs. They have different custard flavors depending on the season, like peach and mango, and they also have a selection of other Totoro-themed sweets available for purchase. So the bottom floor is the bakery, but if you go upstairs, you can enjoy a meal in the cafe and order those same Totoro cream puffs to eat in. We ordered 2 cafe au laits, a sausage and salad plate with an assortment of bread, and a toasted pressed sandwich with roast pork, ham, cheddar, pickles, and roasted potatoes. It was so crispy and tasty. If I had to describe it in a word, it would be comfort. Speaking of which, the whole vibe of the cafe was extremely comfy and perfectly fit the Ghibli theme. We of course had to end the meal with a Totoro cream puff, and it was so cute I had trouble cutting into it with my fork. We ordered the regular custard vanilla flavor, and it was pretty good. But as usual, I couldn't finish it. This cafe goes on my list of places I want to take friends to, so I will definitely be returning. This cafe gets a 5 out of 5. The last type of cafe I'll be talking about has given me the most stress out of all the others, and that would be permanent reservation cafes. Unlike other permanent cafes where you can just stroll up and maybe wait for a bit, these ones require a reservation, and you'd think it'd be easy to get a table at these because they're here year-round, but you'd be wrong! Let's start with the easier one. The Straw Hat Cafe at the Ghibli Museum in Mitaka. Similarly to the Sailor Moon Museum Cafe, you don't actually need to book a reservation at the Straw Hat Cafe, you just need to purchase a ticket to the Ghibli Museum so that you can access the cafe. The Ghibli Museum itself is really cool, and I definitely recommend going, especially since tickets are quite cheap, less than $10. Now technically, I don't think the Straw Hat Cafe is meant to be a Ghibli-themed cafe, just more like a regular cafe whose whole purpose is to properly feed you while you're in the museum. So don't expect bacon and eggs from Howl's Moving Castle, or ramen from Ponyo, or even rice balls from Spirited Away. The presentation is not what you'd expect from a Studio Ghibli branded cafe, and yes, they serve you the food on parchment paper and paper bowls. However, it actually tasted really, really good. I was genuinely shocked. Based on older Google reviews, it looks like there was a bigger menu and a bigger wait time before COVID, but they've both been reduced since then. So once tourism kicks back up, you can maybe expect the wait times to be longer again. We ordered the ketchup and chicken rice bowl, which came with half an egg and some Japanese mayo on top, fries that were actually so good and crispy, and a sausage hot dog with the cafe logo pressed into the bun. The sausage had a really nice snap to it, and it tasted delicious. For dessert, I got a cafe au lait, and we shared a strawberry omelet, which was really simple but really good. It was nice, airy, fluffy, and not too sweet. There was also a snack bar next to the cafe where you could get some extra items, so we also got curry balls and an ume soda. The ume soda was refreshing and sweet, and the curry balls were crazy good. Nice and crispy on the outside and steamy and flavorful on the inside. My only complaint was that one order only came with 2 balls. Straw Hat Cafe gets a 4.5 out of 5 for me. Presentation might seem underwhelming, but it really hits a spot after you've spent the day walking around the museum. If you prefer a cafe that leans more into the Ghibli imagery, there's always the Shiro-Hige Cream Puff Factory. Of course, we had to check out the Pokemon Cafe. So this is one of those cafes that are always completely booked pretty much every day. The earliest you can really book a reservation is a month in advance, and they open reservations for the next available day at 6 p.m. Miraculously, we were able to get a spot. Alright, let's get straight to the point. The atmosphere is as adorable as you'd expect. There was a table set up to look like two Pikachus were eating together. There was a giant chef Pikachu that came out and did a little dance with the customers. It was very, very cute. The food presentation was also super cute. Look at this Pikachu kebab plate I ordered. Look at this Eevee plate that Didus ordered. Look at these super cute drinks. Unfortunately, they all look much better than they taste. This is one of those cafes where you're truly paying for the aesthetic and the presentation, because the taste was mediocre. The drinks were way too sweet, and the food wasn't really satisfying. Now keep in mind, this is probably because this cafe is more geared to kids, so the portion sizes and sweetness levels are pretty different from some of the other cafes we've been to. And as expected, the items are pretty expensive, but if you're a huge Pokemon fan, then the experience is still worth it, in my opinion. I'm just saying that right after we left the cafe, we had to go eat McDonald's to feel satisfied. Another plus is that it's right next to the Pokemon Center, so after your meal, you can stroll in and take a look at all the Pokemon-themed items you can take home with you. Like this very cursed Pikachu plush. Overall, I'll have to give the Pokemon Cafe a 4 out of 5, simply because it was everything you would want in a themed cafe, except for delicious. The Kirby Cafe at Tokyo Skytree. This cafe was the final boss in my theme cafe journey. This cafe opens up reservations on the 10th every month for the month after. So for example, if you want to get a table in September, you need to camp out on the site on August 10th and wait for the reservation Hunger Games to begin. The site will be laggy due to high traffic. You will need to frantically figure out how to type your government name in katakana, and if you end up missing this reservation period, you will have to wait an entire month before you can try again. I was nervously awaiting the battle on August 10th. I set several alarms reminding me. I watched that loading screen turn round and round as the site struggled to make room for eager customers. And I got in, baby! Cafe number 12, let's go! Kirby Cafe! So like the Pokemon Cafe, this cafe was adorable inside and out. And we got to sit by the big tree in the middle of the restaurant. I ordered a salmon and avocado bowl, and Didus ordered a Loco Moco bowl. They were pretty tasty, although to be honest, you could just as easily make them at home. However, we were able to keep the little bowls as souvenirs, which I thought was really neat. We also ordered 2 cafe au laits with little marshmallow Kirbys on top, and they were so cute and so delicious. I also ordered a peach soda, which was admittedly way too sweet for my liking, but it was still fun to drink. And for dessert, we of course had to order the Kirby Jello cake. Just look at it. It's so cute and jiggly. I'll be honest, I did not really eat any of it because I was pretty sugared out from my 2 drinks, but Didus really liked it, so you can take his word for it. In addition to the souvenir bowls, we received some super cute free coasters, and we got this plastic stirring stick that I think was an exclusive if you dined in. Afterwards, we hit up the merch store, and it took me a lot of strength not to buy everything I saw because they have some seriously cute merchandise. Even if you don't have a reservation at the cafe itself, you can pop in whenever you want to browse the merch. The food is quite expensive, but like I mentioned before, themed cafe food is always expensive, so I can't really judge that aspect. If you're a huge Kirby fan, it's definitely worth going for like a special occasion or something. This one gets a 5 out of 5. Now let's review. Pop-up walk-up cafe. Pro, easily accessible. Con, typically lower quality and unpredictable wait time. For the pop-up reservation cafe. Pro, better quality and no wait time. Con, can be difficult to get a reservation, especially because of time exclusivity. For the permanent walk-up cafes. Pro, easily accessible, but con, unpredictable wait time. And for the permanent reservation cafes, Pro, year-round and no wait time. However, Con, can be difficult to get a reservation. So, are themed cafes worth it? I'd say if you're a big fan of the anime or IP that the cafe is based on, then yes, I do think it's worth going to at least. So, I may have a bit of a problem. I have the Full Metal Alchemist collab at Square Enix Cafe in Akihabara. The Square Enix Cafe is technically a permanent cafe, but the collaborations they do cycle out every 2 months or so. I ended up going to this cafe twice with my friend Daru because they had different menu items available depending on which dates you went, so we managed to try a lot of different things. During our first visit, I tried the Roy Mustang Flame Alchemist drink, and Daru ordered the Dwarf in the Flask drink that came with a bunch of seaweed noodles on top. I also ordered the Philosopher's Stone drink, which came with a glowing ice cube. And I think out of all the drinks I tried during this visit, the Roy Mustang one was definitely the tastiest. We also ordered a greed salad, which was actually kind of heavy because there was a thick layer of creamy noodles underneath the salad, so it was pretty on theme. I ordered the Grandma Finako cream stew, and it was delicious. Super comfy, cheesy, warm, and savory. Daru and I also shared Ed's tomato risotto, which was not very good and was honestly kind of bland. For dessert, we shared an Al's chocolate dome tart, which was super cute, and if you pulled away the Al wafer, there was a cute little cat inside the dome sitting in the fruits. This was our favorite thing because of the cuteness factor and also because it actually tasted really good. During our second visit 1 week later, I ordered Alphonse's acid bacteria juice, which sounds disgusting, but it was actually pretty tasty, and the Taboo of Alchemy, which was a blue soda that you were supposed to pour pomegranate syrup into. It was also pretty tasty. Unfortunately, I couldn't say the same for Daru's Eastern Command's Bad Coffee, which sounds like an ironic name, but it was in fact really, really bad coffee. You're supposed to pour in the concentrated coffee syrup to turn it into good coffee, but unfortunately, no amount of alchemy could save how bad this was. But you know what? I can't really knock off points for that, because technically they did warn you. It's in the name. This time I ordered Armstrong's Artistic Kuru Kuru pasta, which wasn't bad. If you're an authentic pasta enthusiast, maybe don't order pasta at a collab cafe, because you'll probably hate it, but personally, I will happily eat a can of Chef Boyardee, so my standards are much lower. Daru ordered Scar's Ishval steak, which was actually marinated grilled tofu over a bed of garlic breadcrumbs. It was pretty good, but by far the best meal we ordered was Roy's flame grilled steak. It was a beautiful medium rare and it tasted so good. We absolutely murdered that plate together. For dessert, we ordered the Sweet Temptation of the Door of Truth, which came with granola, whipped cream, candy jellies, frozen fruit, and chocolate ice cream. Lastly, Daru ordered Winry's apple pie, which I didn't eat, but Daru said the pie tasted pretty basic, but she really liked the slightly salty vanilla ice cream it came with. Okay, that's a lot. But like I said, this was over the course of 2 visits. The atmosphere was really cool. There was plenty of art on display on the walls, including this giant illustration on the wall behind us, and they were playing various opening theme songs. I really liked how creative they got with the food arrangement and names, and this is a great experience if you're a huge Fullmetal Alchemist fan like Daru. So even though not absolutely everything was a hit, overall this cafe gets a 5 out of 5. Number 2, the Final Fantasy Eorzea Cafe in Akihabara. I hope I pronounced that right. This Final Fantasy XIV themed cafe is actually a permanent reservation cafe. Someone actually told me about this cafe in the comment section in my first cafe video, and I couldn't believe I missed it, so even though I don't play the game, I had to go. I went with Nabi, who actually plays the game, and the Gaming Beaver, who also doesn't play the game, but wanted to come along to join the collab cafe experience. The atmosphere was really nice, and the interior was made to look like you were in Carline Canopy. One of the biggest standouts in the menu for this cafe was that they had a drink for every single class in the game, and each one looked unique. James ordered the Summoner, Nabi ordered the Black Mage and the Crystal Tower, and I ordered the Scholar drink, mostly because it came with a butterfly-shaped spoon and I thought it was really pretty. For my appetizer, I ordered a Fat Cat pork bun, which is one of the cutest things I've ever seen in a cafe, and also happened to be really tasty. James ordered the beaver croquettes for obvious reasons. He also ordered the mysterious muddy curry. Nabi ordered the Takeshi beef bowl, and I ordered the chocobo carbonara, which, while very cute looking, did not taste very pleasant. The pasta was kind of mushy and overcooked, and the sauce wasn't great. So If I could, I would have ordered something else, but Nabi and James both really liked their dishes. For dessert, we shared the Black Demon Crest Tiramisu. Overall, I'd say the strongest parts about this cafe would be the atmosphere and the variety of drinks they have available. And if you like collecting cafe coasters, this cafe gives you a coaster for every single item you order, not just drinks. Unfortunately, there wasn't any merch available when I went, so I can't really tell you what extra things you can buy there. This cafe is definitely a must if you're a fan of the game, and I love how vast the menu is, so you could come here many times and never get the same thing twice. I think I'm gonna have to give this one like a very strong 4.8 out of 5. I just knocked off 0.2 points for not having merch, but like that's not a big deal. Number 3, Ebe at Sweets Paradise. This one might feel super nostalgic to some of you, as it did for me. To commemorate the Ebe remake for the Switch, there was a special Ebe-themed menu at Sweets Paradise. Now, the thing about Sweets Paradise is that it's a dessert buffet, and you have to pay the buffet ticket to eat here. And you might be thinking, but Emily, what if I just want to eat from the collab menu? I thought that too, and too bad, you still need to pay for the buffet ticket in addition to the individual collab cafe menu items, even if you don't touch anything from the buffet. On the bright side, that means if you're still not full after you eat the collab stuff, you can gorge yourself on cake slices and pasta and curry afterwards. So just a heads up, if you ever book a collab cafe reservation with Sweets Paradise, expect an extra $10 to be charged to your receipt. Anyways, let's talk about the food. First thing we ordered was the Gary mushroom pasta and the curry rice. They were fine. Presentation-wise, it wasn't anything special, and the Sweets Paradise buffet already has pasta and curry, so it felt like kind of a waste to pay extra for more curry and pasta that just had some extra wafers on it. But it tasted fine. For dessert, we ordered the Ebe parfait, which was very cute, but it also tasted just fine. For our drinks, we got the blue lemonade and butterfly pea tea, which tasted, you guessed it, fine. The merch was pretty basic with the usual file folders, acrylic charms, and badges that you see at every other cafe. Like, this was honestly the most bare bones basic collab cafe you could possibly ask for. Not amazing, not terrible, just fine. 2.5 out of 5. Which is unfortunate, because I feel like there's so much they could have done with the Ebe's concept. Number 4, Tokyo Mew Mew at Motto Cafe in Ikebukuro. I was waiting for Tokyo Mew Mew to finally get their own cafe, and they did! I actually ended up going to this one twice. The first thing I tried was the kishu plate, which included a quiche, a side salad, fries, and a side of ratatouille. Daru ordered the Cafe Mew Mew omurice plate, and I also ordered the strawberry chocolate fruit sandwich. During my second visit, I ordered the Aoyama black and white stew plate. And I'll be honest, all of these items tasted pretty good, but presentation-wise, there really wasn't a lot going on. Not even one of those low-effort wafer paper decorations. At that point, you're not really eating themed food, more like regular cafe food that's extremely overpriced. But to be honest, I'd rather eat uninteresting-looking food that tastes good than the other way around, so I still had a good time, all things considered. The drinks, unfortunately, were a disappointment. We ordered the Ichigo tea, Minto drink, and Zakuro tea, and they literally all tasted like water that was slightly flavored, which was a trip because they looked so vibrant and tasty. It threw me off. The merch was also pretty cute, but also super limited. It was the typical badges, charms, stickers, and file folders, and I ended up picking up the stickers and file folders. Overall, this was a pleasant experience, but I'll be honest, I was expecting a little more from a collab that seemed so obvious considering the characters work at a cute cafe in the anime. 3 out of 5. Number 5, Genshin Impact at Sweets Paradise. Here we are at another Sweets Paradise cafe. This time I went with Daidas and Nabi, and we ordered quite a bit. The atmosphere was nice and busy, they played footage from the game on the walls, and there was music from the Inazuma soundtrack playing the whole time. I feel like this collab definitely had more thought put into it than the Ebe Cafe, because they actually went out of their way to recreate some of the dishes from the game. I ordered Kazuha's specialty dish, which was a grilled fish with rice and miso soup, which is a combo I usually really enjoy, but this fish didn't taste very seasoned, so I wasn't really a fan. We also ordered Toma's Oden, which tasted pretty good, as expected. I think it's hard to screw up Oden, to be honest. Daitis ordered Yaimiko's specialty dish, which was a kitsune udon, and it tasted really good, actually. He completely annihilated it. My personal favorite was Ayaka's specialty dish, which was both really pretty, like the one in the game, and super tasty. The outside was the super soft sweet mochi, and the inside had red bean, whipped cream, and strawberries. It was so good. The last dessert we tried was an anmitsu themed after Goro, and I felt pretty indifferent about this one. I wasn't really into it. For the drinks, I had to order Ayato's milk tea boba, and Daitis ordered Raiden Shogun's dango milk, which had a cute little blue ribbon on it like in the game. I unfortunately did not get to try it because he drank it so fast, but he really enjoyed it, so I'm assuming it was really good. Nabi ordered the black oolong tea and karage combo, which she also enjoyed. Overall, the food and drinks were pretty good, and I liked that some of the items were presented in the same likeness as their game counterparts. I got to take home a big stack of coasters that they gave out for each item we ordered, and while the merch section had the usual acrylic stands, badges, and file folders, you could also purchase plush slimes, bags, and washi tape for every region in Genshin besides Sumeru, which I dedicated an entire journal page to. Since it was Eula's birthday week, we also received a free Eula postcard, which I also pasted in my journal. Daitis usually hates collab cafes, and he really liked this one, so this one counts as a success in my book. 5 out of 5, sure. Number 6, Berserk Cafe in Chiyoda. First off, the atmosphere was great because the first thing you see when you walk in is this giant cardboard display of guts, which looked incredible, and his iconic Dragon Slayer sword right underneath it. In the same room, there's framed art on display that you can browse through, which I'd never seen a collab cafe do, so that was really cool. Similarly to the Square Enix cafe, the ordering system was great because you got to just swipe through the menu and select which items you wanted. And you could actually order merch this way too. Daitis ordered the branded sacrifice roast beef sandwich, which was literally just a sandwich and fries with the symbol on the sandwich. This was 1,540 yen, are you kidding me? It was meh. He also ordered the Griffith chicken wings, which I think were fine. I'll be honest, they weren't very memorable. I just remember them being kind of lukewarm. We both agreed that the tastiest item on the menu was the meat-wrapped rice ball on a stick that was meant to look like the Giant Slayer sword. It was pretty good. Can't really go wrong with a combo like meat and rice. I also ordered Casca's pomegranate kelpis, which I thought tasted really good. Now, the real highlight of this cafe was the merch. Some of the things you could get included a glitter key holder, a glass at the face, temporary tattoos, a metallic poster of Guts and Griffith, acrylic coasters, and prints of the artwork that was on display at the front of the cafe. Daitis ended up getting a Berserk branded ramen bowl, which he was very excited about, and some blind bag acrylic coasters. We received free cardboard coasters with every item that we ordered, and the artwork on each of them looked spectacular. Overall, the food was pretty meh, but the merch was some of the most interesting I'd ever seen in a collab cafe, and the display section was really neat. At 3.5 out of 5. Number 7, the Miraculous Ladybug Cafe in Akihabara. Now, I know I haven't watched Miraculous Ladybug in years, and I've long since given up on this show, but I was intrigued by the fact that there even was a Miraculous Ladybug collab cafe going on. So here's my thoughts on the food. For the drinks, Daru and I ordered the Ladybug Berry Soda and the Cat Noir Kiwi Calpis drink, which we both really enjoyed. For our entrees, I ordered the chibi lunch, which included a small salad, potato wedges, some fried chicken, pasta, and what I think was a sweet potato soup. I thought it tasted pretty good, but it did sort of give me the vibe of like a school lunch. Daru ordered the mini cheeseburger plate, which she wasn't really impressed by, and again, feels a little like a school lunch. I think the real stars of this collab were the desserts. For dessert, we ordered the Sweethearts ice cream, which actually looked like the one from the show, and it had flavors of ramune on top and berry on the bottom. And the Marinette macaron plate, which had a strawberry macaron, a cream puff, and berry panna cotta. This plate was actually pretty good, especially the macaron. Holy cow, the macaron was so tasty, which I really wasn't expecting. Overall, I'd say the highlights of this collab were definitely the desserts and drinks in both presentation and taste. I liked that they had so many different drink options for the different characters, so I sort of wish I'd ordered more. The merch section had the usual badges, acrylic stands, and charms, so no extra points in that area, unfortunately. This one also gets a 3.5 out of 5. Number 8, BT21 at Shibuya 109. I know this one is technically not an anime, but the theme of this cafe was so cute I had to check it out. This time, I went with a friend who's a big K-pop fan, and we were immediately ecstatic over the cute magic-themed decor. For our visit, we received a free little memo pad and adorable star-shaped coasters, which was a nice change of shape from all the circle and square coasters I'd been getting. We both ordered the magical milk tea, which was a tea drink that came with a big cloud of cotton candy on top, and a cup of milk that you're supposed to pour over the cotton candy and watch it magically disintegrate into your tea. It was really good. Definitely one of the more fun drinks I've had at a collab cafe. For the meal itself, we decided to share the magical tea time set and order one additional food plate because we knew we couldn't finish a whole dessert plate on our own. The presentation of this pastry stand meal was so cute. The savory plate had a sandwich, veggies, and a pasta gratin with mashed potatoes in the likeness of the BT21 character of your choosing. And the dessert plate had a spread of fruit, this really cute rainbow decoration made out of syrup and cotton candy, and a yogurt mousse tart that looked like the character of your choosing again. To be totally honest, I think everything looked better than they tasted. Like, I loved that there were so many vegetables and fruits, but somehow it all tasted very okay. Like, nothing was bad, but nothing was super great in any way either, and I was left feeling a little unsatisfied. The highlight of this cafe for me was definitely the adorable atmosphere and great presentation, but considering how expensive the plates were, I think I was expecting just a little more flavor. Especially those sandwiches, those were not great. The merch store had some pretty interesting stuff, like a mug, washi tape, handkerchiefs, balloons, acrylic coasters, and little handheld mirrors. I feel like this was slightly better than the average collab cafe experience. I just wished it was a little tastier. I'm gonna give this one a very soft 3.5 out of 5. Number 9, SpyxFamily at Sweets Paradise. Hey, we're back at Sweets Paradise, and this time I managed to get a reservation for a SpyxFamily collaboration. This time I dragged James and Whitney with me because they've been enjoying the show too. Okay, so first off, I have to knock off points for the atmosphere. Not that it was ugly or anything, but they kept playing just the second season opening over and over again the entire time, and it got to a point where I no longer enjoy hearing the opening, so thank you for that, Sweets Paradise. Anyways, right, the food. First thing I ordered was the Bond Parfait, and I need you to look at how cute this is. Full marks on presentation just for this cutie alone. I don't care if it's biased, look at him. James ordered the Anya strawberry soda, and Whitney ordered the Bond coconut boba, which both looked so cute next to each other. I also ordered Damien's sparkling grape soda, which came with a small side of pop rocks that you could put in the drink. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. James ordered the Becky spaghetti, which he liked, and he said the noodles had sort of an udon-like texture, which sounds amazing. I kind of wish I got that too, actually. Whitney ordered Damien's cafeteria steak set, which sounds unappealing, but I tried some, and it actually tasted pretty good. Of course, nothing like an actual steak, but it had a strong savory flavor, and Whitney liked it, although she did say it got a little salty near the last few bites. I ordered the Lloyd omurice plate, and it was actually pretty good. The egg was nice and creamy on the inside, and the bread slices were fine. It was just bread and cheese. Lastly, for dessert, I ordered Yours chocolate cake, which was very prettily put together, but to no one's surprise, the chocolate was just a little too rich and intense for me and Whitney, which means it was absolutely heavenly to a chocolate lover like James, who graciously finished it for us. I think the presentation and taste of everything was pretty great, and the most disappointing part for me was the merch section. With an anime as popular and huge as SpyxFamily, I sort of expected a bigger selection of merch, maybe some interesting cafe exclusive stuff, but no, it was the usual badges, acrylic stamps, and stickers. Same stuff you see at every collab cafe, and of course the stationery was expensive, and of course I got it anyway because I wanted to paste it in my journal, and look, I swear I have actual journal entries in here. It's just slowly devolved into a collab cafe picture book. Anyways, 4 out of 5. Number 10, Banana Fish at the Box Cafe in Space in Shinjuku. Nobody is safe from the Emirichu Collab Cafe Buddy Acquisition Committee. This time, I dragged Connor to a Banana Fish cafe because he really likes that anime. So first off, this cafe menu was interesting because it featured menu items inspired by other regions, which actually made it really difficult for me to figure out what I wanted to eat. Like, for instance, I wasn't gonna get the New York bagel sandwich plate because I am well aware of what a good New York bacon, egg, and cheese tastes like, and I've never had to pay more than like $5 for one. So there was no way in hell I was gonna pay 1,500 yen for a bagel sandwich that would undoubtedly fail to reach the high standard I already had for bagel sandwiches. I I wasn't gonna get the banh mi plate because I also happen to know what a good banh mi tastes like. And again, you usually don't have to pay more than like $4 for one, so this also felt like I was setting myself up for disappointment. However, thanks to amusement parks and movie theaters, I'm all too familiar with having to pay jacked up prices for a hot dog. So in order to give this cafe even a fighting chance at a good score, I had to go for the hot dog. And I mean, it was fine. It didn't taste bad or anything. It had a nice snap to it. It looked pretty. It had veggies. It was a hot dog. The stuff on the side was I just don't think seaweed and tofu make a good side dish for hot dogs, but what do I know? Connor ordered the tomato and sardine pasta, which he surprisingly really enjoyed.
What did you say?
It's not bad. It's pretty good. Look at it. It's pretty. Not mid. Actually, it's pretty good. 8 out of 10.
For drinks, we first ordered the ash drink and Eiji drink, both of which were pretty good. And then I got the shorter drink, which I thought I was gonna like because it's a mango milk tea, but we both thought it tasted really nasty. But the colorful soda float I ordered was delicious, especially when I mixed the vanilla ice cream into it, because then it became this really tasty, creamy, fizzy milkshake. My only complaint being that there was way too much ice. Come on, what is this? You're gonna charge me 950 yen and fill up like 75% of the glass with ice? Get it together, Box Cafe in space! Anyways, for dessert, we ordered the French toast plate, which was pretty but terrible. Easily some of the worst French toast either of us have ever eaten. We could only get like a few bites in and then we had to give up. But the caramel pancakes were pretty alright. I especially liked the sprinkling of pistachio nuts on top. A bit too much cream, but way better than the French toast. Honestly, I don't really know what to rate this one because everything seemed so wildly hit or miss. So I think this is one of those menu RNG type of situations where you just have to hope you picked the better tasting items. I'm gonna say like 3.5 out of 5. The rating system in this video is completely arbitrary, so you can disagree with me if you want. It's fine. I'm gonna say 3.5 out of 5. We didn't buy anything from the merch section, but I thought the most interesting thing was this super cute plate that our French toast was served on. Number 11, Fruits Basket in Osaka. If anyone ever dares to question my devotion to collab cafes and specifically Fruits Basket, I just want you to know I made the spontaneous decision to travel all the way to Osaka for a day just to go to the Fruits Basket 30th Anniversary Cafe because they did one in Tokyo, except it was back in early March when I hadn't moved here yet, so I missed out on it. And then they announced that they were going to do one in Osaka, and I was like, well, this was my only chance to go to the Fruits Basket 30th Anniversary Cafe, so I did. But I wasn't alone, because if there's anyone who's always down to enable me in my impulsive fandom-driven pursuit for the next best cafe, it's Daru. We decided to take the Shinkansen to Osaka in the morning so we could catch an early lunch at the cafe and then go again for an early dinner before hopping on the train back to Tokyo. I even brought along my Furuba acrylic stand to take pictures with because if I'm going to travel all the way to Osaka for a collab cafe, I'm going to be a little extra about it. We ordered almost the entire menu, so let's get right into it. First of all, the atmosphere was nostalgia heaven. There were gorgeous illustrations up on the wall, they were playing the soundtrack from the anime on the speakers, and there was that same convenient tablet ordering system at the tables where you could also order the merch. And oh my god, the merch! There was so much you could buy, it was almost overwhelming. We're gonna get into that after the food, but I'm telling you right now, it was the highlight of this cafe. For lunch, Daru and I started our order with a Kyo orange cocktail and a Kureno peach oolong tea. And unsurprisingly, they were both way too sweet. And I know it wasn't just me, because the guy sitting in front of me also ordered the peach oolong tea, and I heard him say amasugiru after taking a sip, so it's already not off to the best start. I also ordered a cafe latte with Yuki's face printed on it, and it tasted fine. Pretty much the same as every other cafe latte I've ever ordered at a collab cafe. I was really excited to try the Kyo burger because I thought it looked adorable, but it was god-awful. Genuinely could not finish it. The buns were cold. I've had better burgers at McDonald's. Daru ordered the Yuki curry, which came out a little smudged, but I really liked that there were a lot more vegetables in it than what you usually get from a collab cafe curry, and it tasted like what you'd expect. However, there was one thing that ruined the whole dish for us. To replicate Yuki's ears, they put ham on dark chocolate and then stuck it into the rice. Dark chocolate? Why? You couldn't use like a mushroom? Or maybe even one of those wafer papers? Chocolate? We thought maybe it was a flavor combo that was secretly good, but no, it tasted gross. It tasted like ham and dark chocolate over rice. At this point, we are praying to God the dessert will be the saving grace. We ordered the Kyoyuki chocolate lava cake, and similarly to my experience with the Your chocolate cake from the SpyxFamily Cafe, this cake was too rich and chocolatey for me personally, but Daru loved it. So hey, one good thing out of like 5 things. Luckily, the things we ordered when we came back during dinner time ended up being a lot better. For drinks, I ordered the Toru strawberry milk, which tasted pretty good, but it then occurred to me that I forgot my lactate pills, and I was afraid of what an entire glass of milk was gonna do to me, so I passed it off to Daru. I also ordered Ayame's berry soda float, which was one of the best tasting things I'd ordered that whole day. I was worried it'd be too sweet like the drinks we had during lunch, but it was honestly perfect. Daru got the cursed jelly fruit punch, which is supposed to change color once you add the lemon juice. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember if it actually ever did. I didn't try it, but she thought it was alright. For dinner, we ordered the somen, which was the most normal thing on the menu, but I thought it was pretty good. Daru said the somen noodles were overcooked, but at this point, we just wanted something edible, okay? The bar's in hell. The best thing that we ordered ended up being the Toru rice ball plate. How fitting that the best girl ended up being the best item. One of the rice balls had her cute little face on the front and a little umeboshi on the back. Maybe it's because this was a super normal Japanese meal, but everything from the tamagoyaki to the salmon to the mackerel to little sausages wrapped in bacon tasted great. I was grateful that I could leave the cafe with at least one good meal in my stomach. For dessert, we decided to share the dessert plate, which included 2 mini parfaits, some citrus fruits, some more fruit in an orange bowl, a crepe cake slice, and some tea cookies. This one tasted pretty okay. I liked the fruits, but Daru and I both agree that the crepe cake slice was not the best. You could legitimately get a better tasting one from a konbini. But we really liked the presentation of the whole thing, and it came with some free little postcards that featured pages from the manga, and you know I had to paste that into my journal. But the most exciting part for me was the merch and free little goodies. We received a coaster for every item we ordered, so we ended up with a lot of coasters, which I was very happy about. And 2 larger sized postcards of Yuki and Kyo, which of course I had to put in my journal because where else was I gonna put it? I decided to treat myself to 2 prints that featured art from the manga and some blind bag acrylic coasters. Yes, I know I already have a massive collection of free cardboard coasters, but look at these designs and tell me I was just supposed to walk away from these. I stopped there, but they had more things for sale like framed fridge magnets, a mug, a cafe art stencil, reproduced prints of fruits basket illustrations, etc. This trip was a lot of fun, but I think for next time, if I ever do something like this again, I'll make it a multi-day trip because it doesn't really make sense to go to the city most known for its delicious food only to go to the worst kind of place for good food. If we're counting the bullet train tickets, this was hands down the most expensive cafe trip I've ever done, but I made some pretty good memories. 2.5 out of 5. Number 12, last but not least, the Ouran High School Host Club Collab Cafe in Chiyoda. This time, we're actually going to the same venue as the Berserk Cafe, and this collab is licensed under the same company as Berserk and Fruits Basket, which means, the food is probably gonna suck, but the merch will be amazing. Like the Berserk Cafe, the moment you walk in, you're greeted by a large cutout display of the host club in their adorable cafe outfits, and a bunch of framed illustrations on the walls that you can admire before you get seated for your reservation. I really wish more cafes did this because it's such a nice addition to the atmosphere, and I love that you can purchase a print if you really like one of them. We sat down, scrolled through the Welcome to the 3rd installment of Emily's Collab Cafe Addiction. Number 1, Creamy Mommy at Cafe Zenon in Kichijoji. To those unfamiliar, Creamy Mommy is a magical girl anime released in the early 80s about a 10-year-old girl who's granted the ability to transform into a 16-year-old pop idol. And you may be wondering, why on earth is such an old anime getting a collab cafe? Is it getting a remake? Was it an anniversary? It's neither! Apparently, there's a Creamy Mommy collab at Cafe Zenon every year around Christmas time. So, back in December, I decided to go with a friend who really liked watching Creamy Mommy when she was a kid. I thought and hoped that maybe the food quality would actually be pretty good this time because Cafe Zenon isn't a venue for collab cafes. They serve actual hearty bar food and function like a regular restaurant. They just so happen to also have a Creamy Mommy menu on a yearly basis. The first thing we ordered was the Magical Change cocktail, which came with a very cute cutout on the rim of the glass. It was supposed to change color when you dropped in the star-shaped fruit, representing the transformation aspect of the character. Unfortunately, though, the color wasn't changing for my glass in particular, and the way to deduce that, since I ordered the alcoholic version of the drink, maybe it was messing with the pH level. So he brought out a regular version, and it actually worked. It's a really subtle change, but it changes from dark purple to a more pinkish color. Here's how it looks side by side. For our meal, we ordered a creamy cheeseburger which came with star-shaped hash browns and french fries. And I know in my last Collab Cafe video I said burgers weren't worth getting, but this was actually pretty tasty. The patty was nice and thick, and the cheese was super creamy. For dessert, my friend and I shared the strawberry dress parfait, which was meant to represent Mommy's dress. This parfait came with fresh strawberries, strawberry whipped cream, strawberry Bavarian cream, strawberry ice cream, and strawberry Pocky on top, which sounds exactly like my kind of dessert, and it was really good. Instead of the usual coasters, we received a free magnet for every item we ordered. This cafe was pretty good, and I can definitely see myself returning on like a regular day for lunch or something, and also for their next Creamy Mommy Christmas collab. I give this one a 4.6 out of 5. Number 2, Suzume no Tojimari at Box Cafe in Shinjuku. We've been to this particular venue a few times before, and this time it's to commemorate the release of Makoto Shinkai's latest film, Suzume no Tojimari, which we actually still have yet to watch. And for this cafe, Didus and I brought along Manu, who did watch the film. The first thing that Didus ordered was the potato salad fried udon, which was a dish featured in the movie. Didus is obsessed with fried eggs, udon, and potato salad, so he ended up really liking this combination. It's a bit pricey for how much udon you actually get, but that's to be expected at a collab cafe like this. I ordered the Sparrow Chair Sandwich, and I was really impressed at how cute and creative the sandwich was. There was a super thin layer of egg crepe to make the chair color, and little breadsticks for the legs. The sandwiches themselves didn't really taste like anything special. It was like any other egg sandwich and ham and cheese sandwich you'd find at any kombini, so the presentation definitely carried this one. Manu ordered the dashi ochazuke, which initially didn't look like much, but once he poured the broth in and cracked it open, there was a tasty surprise of salmon and fish eggs inside. This tasted really good, and he thoroughly enjoyed it. Next, we shared the Calamity Earthworm door lock crepe, and I have no idea what scene this one is referencing, but I thought it looked really cool. It was like a rolled up crepe in gelatin with cream and frozen fruit and some cereal flakes. There was a lot going on, and taste-wise, it was interesting, but I wouldn't say it was delicious. It just looked cool. We also shared the door acai bowl, which was made to look like the door in the movie, and we thought this also looked really cool. But the taste wasn't really memorable. I think it was some kind of like lightly flavored acai yogurt flavor. Again, the presentation carried. I also ordered the Tokyo drink, which came with some jelly and silver pearls on top. I also got a cafe latte, which came with a random scene printed on top of the foam. I didn't get a chance to record the merch area because it was pretty busy, but there was a nice selection of items you could purchase, like magnets, tote bags, hand towels, pouches, dishware, etc. I bought some Polaroid-style photo cards to paste in my journal. Overall, I was really impressed at the presentation of the food, which is honestly some of the best I've seen at a collab cafe. And even if not everything was super tasty, nothing tasted bad, which is great. This was a really solid collab cafe, and I had a good time. 4.9 out of 5. Number 3, Urusei Yatsura Cafe at Box Cafe in Harajuku. Urusei Yatsura is another 80s throwback, which is an iconic series from Rumiko Takahashi, the same mangaka behind Inuyasha and Ranma Half. And as some of you may know, it got a brand spanking new remake with some beautiful animation and some extremely catchy openings. And like every other new anime that comes out, there was a collab cafe that came shortly after.